Hi, my name is Daudi Mugabi and this is Business Mike episode 25. My guest today is Shakib Nsubuga. He's the managing director of Lamudi, Uganda, an online real estate marketplace. In this episode, Shakib provides some insight on what it takes to run a company as well as what he's learned along the way. All this and more next on Business Mike. Welcome to Business Mike. Thank you so much for joining us today. Could you briefly tell us who you are and what you do?
Hi, my name is Shakib Nsubuga and I am the country manager for a company called Lamudi, Uganda.
What does Lamudi, Uganda do?
Lamudi is an online real estate marketplace. We call ourselves Uganda's largest online marketplace, and we are a website that you go to get information about real estate that is available in the country. We have a presence in about 32 different countries around the world. We are, owned by a company called Rocket Internet, and we basically, try to provide a platform for real estate agents, for brokers, for developers, homeowners to maximize their marketing potential and utilize our platform to give as much audience to their properties.
What advantage is there to using your platform versus, say, picking up the phone and calling one of these brokers?
So what we have, I think, at Lamudi, we've developed, we've been fortunate enough to consolidate the marketplace. So we have the largest database of property availability in Uganda. So anyone that comes to Lamudi will know they will get the most amount of diversity. We have, over 10,000 properties on our site. This include houses, land, commercial properties, warehousing space, agricultural space, land for leasing, land for buying. Sometimes we've actually got a land for rent. So really anything that is real estate related, you will be able to find on our website. The advantage that we have is, one, we have quite a good number of variety. We consider ourselves the best online marketing company, so we try our best to reach out to the most number of people. So you'll get a variety in terms of buyers, as also a variety in terms of sellers.
And how does it work exactly? When I go onto your website, am I linked to the person selling it? Do I go through you? What's the...
So yes, that's a very good question. How it works is some people think we're an agency. We are not an agency. So when you go into www.lamudi.co.ug, you know exactly what property you're looking for. You type in the specifications, then you get a few options. If you select any particular property, you look at pictures, you look at the property descriptions. We have the exact locations for most of the properties. Some of them, the owners don't like to disclose the exact locations. But what is important, what we really do is we connect you to the actual person who is offering that property. So if you're interested in a particular property, you click on a button that says contact seller or contact agent. You fill in your contact information as the buyer, because that will help the agent to follow up with you. And then after you fill in your information as a buyer, then you will get access to the actual agent's contact information. So if Daudi, you had a property that you have on the website, you would not be dealing with Lamudi on a day-to-day. You'd be dealing with the actual person interested in your property. So it cuts out a lot of waffle. So and as a result, we don't charge commission at Lamudi, because we charge a subscription fee for you to give us your property to maximize the exposure that we're going to give it. So yeah, you deal directly with the person. Lamudi is not an agent. It will not come and help you do a viewing or such, but we're able to verify most of our properties because we have something called trusted sellers. So we have a number of sellers that we know that are reputable, that are very trustworthy, and then we also have individuals that put up their properties. We try and vet them, and then we put them up on the site, and someone gets business directly.
How long have you been operating in Uganda?
This is our second year, actually. We're making 2 years at the end of. We started in August. In August. Officially launched in October 2013. We start. So this is our second year. We're going to be making 2. And we'll try and have a nice celebration to mark our second year.
Well, LamuD is an online service.
Yes.
In Uganda, the internet penetration isn't that deep. So are there any challenges you've faced as an online service?
Definitely. We're entering a new space. Yes, the internet penetration rate is not that great, but it's much better than it was even, say, 5 years ago. We're heading somewhere. There's increased availability of the internet. There's also, increased accessibility because they've made it reasonably cheaper. There's a lot more competitors on the market. There's a lot more support for business, and also, people's attitudes towards the internet are changing. But as a new business in a new area, in a new space, a new area, we face all the normal challenges everyone faces to try and break, traditional cultural, practices, try and get people to be more engaged, even trying to make people understand that to trust us. That the information they're getting is real. Everyone thinks, oh my God, fraud, this, fraud that. But yet, all we're giving is information, and really we give the opportunity to do your own due diligence. Then, working with agents, sometimes some agents might find it hard to maybe understand exactly, what we're trying to do. Other agents also, find it hard to change the way they've been working. They're used to traditional mediums of marketing. They will not, and then other agents also have sometimes ridiculous expectations. They expect to sell their property in 5 minutes, 5 days, or 1 week. It has happened. We've had some success stories where someone has put up their property 3 days. They've been able to sell it off or rent it off. But I think it's all about people understanding and us managing their expectations. But in general, in the beginning, it was a bit hard for us to get taken seriously, but I think we've been able to successfully, change the trends. People now know, with companies like Hello Food behind us, companies like Jumia behind us, companies like Kemu, Everjobs, generally all the companies that we have in our sister companies, Rocket Internet, are all geared towards getting people to maximize the value of online potential. And LamuD is one of the companies that is leading the way to realize that. So the challenges are there. They're mostly getting people to change their attitudes towards the internet, changing their best practices. Right now, you see now in most companies now they're actually finally getting budgets for online marketing. They're beginning to take Facebook more seriously. They're beginning to, but then there are others that are just doing it because it's the new thing to do. They're not actually going ahead and engaging, realizing the full potential. They're not doing it effectively. So where we come in now, what we're trying to do is to get people to use the online platforms effectively, and to get them to really change the way they're doing things. And we've seen that we have so many testimonies of people, that agents and companies and individuals that are using our platform effectively, they're being able to make so much, to get so much benefit out of it, reduce their marketing potential, marketing budgets, and increase their visibility, and making real good business.
Right. Now, earlier you mentioned that LamuD is in different countries doing the same thing, real estate. Are there scenarios whereby maybe you learn from LamuD in another country? Do you engage and learn from each other?
Definitely. One of the things that we have is we're in emerging economies. And emerging economies, we're in Africa. We have a big focus in Africa, Latin America, Middle East, Asia, I think South America, and North America, Mexico, to mention but a few. And what happens is, the LamuDs were staggered in terms of launch. So some LamuDs are higher, so they're further along the startup chart. So yes, we learn a lot from other people's mistakes, not just from LamuD, but from other online companies in all other emerging economies. We always have our ears on our eyes on the prize and our ears on the wall. We know exactly what's going on in the market. So we study these things. We learn from the experiences. We are blessed to have a very big team in terms of for support. From Berlin, we have a central team from Berlin, and also another central team from Paris. And we have individual meetings with all the other LamuD MDs as well. So we share experiences on a weekly basis, and it's amazing. It's encouraging when you see someone comes in from a different country and they say, "Oh, LamuD, I saw it in Kenya." It's like, "Oh, LamuD, I saw you guys in Rwanda." So it makes us feel like part of a bigger, global family, which is good. But another problem we have that comes with that is maybe sometimes we get compared. We get a lot of comparisons. And because different markets have different real estate, they've gone. Some markets are further in terms of real estate and also internet penetration. Other markets are far behind. So we have to be able to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Now you're at the helm of LamuD Uganda. You're in charge of what's taking place. That
I would like to think
that posture, that position, I'm guessing had a few curveballs that it threw at you. There are certain roles and responsibilities which you found yourself having to take. What are some of the balls you have to juggle as a manager?
Interestingly, my background myself is I actually have a biomedical background. My degree at university, my first degree was in biomedical sciences, University of Manchester. Then I had a degree, a master's in public health, also in University of Salford in Manchester. And when I came back to Uganda, I did not plan to go the way that life took me. But I think one of the things that I really used to my advantage is having a science background. When you have a science background, you're very technical and you're very methodical and process oriented. You like to plan, you like to analyze and evaluate, and then reinstill that in a plan. So that has really helped me. Whatever task I'm trying to execute, but I've had to learn on the ball. Anything things to do with business. Me naturally, I'm a salesman. That is that is a God-given. I did not go to school to learn sales, and I got into marketing. I would like to say by accident, but it's just a passion that really grew, and it's something that I took on. In terms of team management, I've always liked to, not necessarily lead, but to really be to focus on the objectives of a particular task and ensure that either they are being met, or if they've not been met, how do we change them to make them better. So I've had to learn things about marketing, things about advertising, things about sales, things about customer relationship management, things about even a lot of programming and IT and all these different things. I've gotten a lot of these skills on the job. I've had to learn delegation, team management. I've had to learn accounting, finance, business planning. So this job has really exposed me to the realities of entrepreneurship, that running a business is like a living, breathing organism that needs to be fed, needs to be nourished, needs to be sheltered, needs to excrete, needs to reproduce, needs to evolve. It's a real, like a child, like a real living, breathing organism. So you have to have that flexibility and that willingness. Every day is a different day. When we started, I was doing a lot of everything, literally. It was all a one-person company, but now we've developed a team. We're a team of, I think, about maybe 12 to 15, between 12 and 15 people. And, we've developed departments and, processes and streamlining of this and that. So it's really helped me grow as a person, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a follower, because a lot of this vision, yes, you might say I'm at the top of the food chain in Uganda, but I have superiors that I have to report to as well. And it's been a very interesting experience.
You made a very good point there in looking at a business as a child, because I think it's important to literally look at a business as a child, because some people, just like they would with a child, they want to spoon feed the child. They want to make sure whatever the child does, they're there, they know what's happening, the child is okay. And even as the child grows, they don't give the child independence. And I strongly feel that for a business to grow and surpass your capabilities, you need to give it that independence. You need to learn how to delegate. And so the business reaches a point whereby it doesn't need you and it can function well.
One of the key tell signs of a manager or a good leader, a good manager, a good head, is in your absence, life must still go on, and in your absence, the company must still be able to thrive. Otherwise, if you leave a company, or if you leave your whatever responsibility you have to go and take on something else, and there's a pause, and then that means the whole company was relying on one person. And if you want to make something to be sustainable and long lasting, it needs to be able to run on its own with its proper structures. So at the moment, that's actually one of the things that I'm trying to work hardest to training, to make sure that this company can sustain itself and is not relying on people. It's relying on structures and processes that anyone can fit in and execute. Therefore, making a successful, sustainable long-term venture.
Now, I was privileged enough today to attend one of your end-of-week meetings. Yes. Whereby you had a practice which really blew my mind, because I've never actually been in any one of these meetings, and I was very impressed and surprised to see that each and every day you all list your objectives and share with one another what your objectives were, what you accomplished, what you failed to accomplish, why did you fail to accomplish it, and you try and address those solutions as a team. That way, when everyone goes home to sleep, they know exactly how much each and everyone else has done and what is on the table for the following day. So how did you come up with that culture, and how has it helped the team grow?
I'll tell you the truth. I stole that from one of my fellow MDs in Kaimu. He's a former MD now, so his name is Tomaj. And he used to do something called sign out, and I was intrigued when I saw it. And at first I thought it was, for him to, be on top of everything as a manager. But it's actually, after you do it, you realize it's for every single member of the team to be accountable to themselves, to realize that if you've been here for 6 to 8 hours or 9 hours, they're able to know exactly what has been achieved. If you sit down and if you're tasked to present, what you've been able to do, and what objectives you've had, what challenges you've had, deep within you realize that you're doing something worthy, that whatever you're doing is actually doing something to build up to the bigger picture. And it's also helped, the team organize themselves better. It's helped me to streamline communication as well. And now we have an opportunity for everyone to engage and really try and solve problems as a group. And sometimes when you have departments, for example, a sales department will only worry about sales things unless they're given an opportunity to hear what's happening. And for example, communications department, and then the content department, they need to tell someone. Normally in other companies they encourage you to send emails and do all these things, but in AIG, Africa Internet Group, which is one of our leading principles, is we need to have a flat communication structure. So we call it a flat structure with open communication, whereby if you need something, you stand up and you go and speak to someone. There you're not going to have a problem of having context being taken out of context, miscommunication, misalignment, mismanagement of expectation. I didn't hear, I wasn't there. All of those excuses are really eliminated, and what you focus on the message and on the objective. And we try. It's not been easy, especially to bring a new culture into a Ugandan workplace. People had different expectations, but as because I have a very good team, and I trust their capabilities and their abilities, so they were very adaptable, and they took it on, and it's now part of Ugandan so AIG culture, and it's something that has actually now been copied to mirror other different teams. Hello Food and all these people, they've all also started doing something similar. So yeah, it's an interesting practice. You pick up things from different places, and it's until you try it out and you get realistic feedback that it's actually impactful. Sometimes it might be a bit time wasting if you spend maybe like 2 hours discussing things. So we have to always also train the team to be very concise and to the point when they're communicating, so that we don't spend time waffling on, and we concentrate on what's important, and deliver company objectives.
There's something else interesting that happened in the meeting, and that was when one of the staff members was mentioning the numbers you have, and you raised a very good point when you said, okay, that's how many people look for that, but what does it mean? What's the context? So that tells me that you're very data-centric, and I would actually encourage all businesses to look for these numbers, look for patterns.
It's very, very important to work on evidence. I think that's something as a scientist we've been raised to do. You have to question everything. Question the status quo. we have to have evidence to back us up. Otherwise, you're going to be working from gut feeling. Gut feeling is nice, but gut feeling is good when it's backed up by evidence. When you realize, oh, actually, my gut was right, or I was mistaken. I've learned from this. So yes, and evidence, builds context, and from context, you're able to, make decisions that even if the decision is wrong at the end of the day, when you're evaluating the decision being wrong, you have something to back up and say, actually, I made a mistake. This number does not mean positive. It actually means negative. And next time I see this number, so it really helps with the learning process. And one of the things that we try to do with our team is not just deliver company results, but really try and impact and build real people that are going to actually go out there and change the world and make positive change to whether they start their own companies, whether they go and make work for different corporations, whether they decide to pursue further education, whether they actually take on this particular company. One of my passions is to impact and enable people to help achieve personal development. And this is one of my passions. So sometimes you might come into a sign out and it's quite heated, but it's because after we finish, the sign out, and after we finish the meeting, everyone knows exactly what they're getting out of it, and everyone really, appreciates that, we're not just here to work. We're here to work. We are learning. We are, finding out things about ourselves, finding out things about each other, and making a real impactful, experience, and having things that we can share with people and teach other people as well. So it's quite an inspiring thing for us to be a part of this team.
So you're just under 2 years for LamuD Uganda. What's your happiest moment here?
I have maybe, I'll say two. The first one was I would say three. The first one, my earliest happiest moment, was when I was able to sign on my first client, who is still actually a client on LamuD to the day. That was coming from a background that I did not have a lot of experience in real estate at that point in time, but I managed to show someone the potential of a service, and they were able to sign. Then my second happiest moment was when I managed to collect the first check from signing on a different client. Sometimes it takes a while for us to convert from signing on to actually getting a check. And then, then signing a check. And then my third latest happiest moment was when we made 1 year. We started LamuD. LamuD was the first company of African Internet Group, launched in Uganda in 2013, and I was the first employee. Myself, I was the first employee of African Internet Group. But if you look up African Internet Group right now, and our JD Services, the company that owns LamuD, in Uganda right now we have over 175 employees. So and this at our 1 year anniversary we had about 150 people. So one of my proudest moments was when, after giving my speech, I just looked back and realized, oh my God, in 1 year we've been able to change from one person to 175 people, all believing in the same dream, all believing in the same vision, that the power of the internet and its ability to change the lives of ordinary Ugandans. And so that's something that I really treasure.
Are there any cool or remarkable stories that you've experienced at this company that maybe you can share with us?
There's so many. Yeah, I'd have to make you sign an NDA. There's so many, but the thing with real estate, you get to meet a lot of people. Real estate is very funny. It's a basic need. It's a basic need. Everyone needs shelter. Every business needs, an address. Every project needs a base. It's a basic need. But sometimes in Uganda, it's, I don't know if the correct word is trivialized or. So when you meet, we have a lot of characters in real estate. We have brokers who are sometimes don't have such a good name. We have agents who are like sharp suits. We have developers who are the big money investors who have big dreams. And then even in developers, we have new age developers who have influences of foreign investors. Then we have the old school developers who know, for them they can. What is the internet? What is Facebook? So I guess I've been fortunate. I've been lucky to interact with quite a few people from diverse backgrounds. So that's why every day I wake up, I don't know, what the day is going to bring. I don't know if I'm going to go from, meeting a high-flying CEO straight to a broker somewhere from across the street, straight to an interesting investor who is doing X, Y, Z. And I think the perception of people that are looking outside, from the outside looking in, would think, you're in real estate. You must be making a lot of money. You must be minting like some crazy commission. But, not every day someone has $1 million to buy a plot of land in Kololo. Not every day someone has 300,000 shillings to buy a flat in Bogolobi. So the business, it's a basic need, but it's something, a house is the most expensive thing that you're ever going to buy in your life, at least that I'm ever going to buy in my life. It's one of my most expensive purchases. So people take time to make decisions. People need a lot of information to make this. People need a lot of hand-holding. So the expectation sometimes is, build it and they will come. Sometimes they don't really match up to the, to what you expect to come. So I guess it's the excitement of the unknown and, trying to be able to predict a few things here and there. And we've been blessed at LamuD. We've had, we've had a lot of contact. We have over 40,000 people visiting our website on a monthly basis. So we've been able to collect a lot of data from these users. So we can give you user preferences. I can tell you, July has just ended. The most searched for area in July for property was in Tinda. Everyone else would think Kololo, but not everyone can afford Kololo. So we have all this real data of user preferences. We have data of average prices of properties in particular areas. I can tell you which places are more affordable, which places are up and coming. And the longer we stay in this business, the more we'll be able to give you trends and changes. And so I guess what we're looking for is to build on this, and also, then with that we'll be able to create some pretty memorable experiences.
Now, you've been in the real estate industry for quite some time. Can you give us a real estate tip? It could be from the point of view of someone who's trying to buy or rent a house, or from the point of view of someone who's trying to let or sell a house. I think
the smallest, easiest, vaguest tip that I can give you, that off the top of my head, that will probably is for both sides. If you're on a buying side or on a selling side, you really need to be able to plan. Don't rush. If something is going to be yours, it will be yours at the end of the day. If something is going to sell, it will sell. We need to plan. If you're planning on buying something, look at your budget, look at the areas, what are the options, do you have enough information? Do you have the right time? What are the buying conditions? Can you negotiate? You have to take your time to answer all these questions. You can't look at the first property you've gotten and you say, let me go for this one. Sometimes gut feeling is good, but even that gut feeling, like I said, as a scientist, you always have to have evidence to back up your theory. Then on the other side, if you're trying to sell the property, you have to plan as well. Have you done any research? Are you selling at the right price? Is the property in the condition that you think is that? Because when you're selling, we have what we call seller's bias, because if it's your property, you already have some sort of sentimental value that you've attached to a particular property. Maybe you spent 3 years building it, and your heart and soul is in there. But for someone that is buying, they are not going to see that heart and soul. So are you selling it to the right people? Are they actually, and then can you do some price comparisons? Have you seen any properties in the market that are similar? Are you overpricing, underpricing? What marketing strategy are you going to use? Do you have the right pictures? Do you need to hire a professional person? So there's so many questions you have to ask yourself. So I think the best piece of advice I can give anyone that is interested in performing any transaction in real estate is planning. And then planning obviously includes due diligence. Can you verify the land titles that you're buying? Do you have legal advice? Don't meet people, in a one-on-one. It's a dangerous world out there. Tell someone where you're going to go before you meet people. So a bit of common sense and a bit of planning goes a long way in real estate.
What's the future for LamuD Uganda? Just a young company, just 2 years. So what plans do you have in store? Man,
we have so many plans. Our vision is to consolidate the Ugandan market. real estate market, at least online. One, we've started a very serious offline campaign. We realized that the internet penetration rates in Uganda are really low, so we've opened up our markets. We started a toll-free service called Dial for Home. If they call us on our toll-free line, we'll be able to provide them with properties, so they don't have to use they don't have to use the internet. They can just call us for free, and our number to call us is 0800-226834. It's a free number. You call us for free, which is 0800-226834. You tell us what properties you want, and we send you a text message. It's very simple. It's a free service that we're offering. So we know that Uganda is restricted in terms of internet penetration, so we plan to go further than that. We're hoping to. We have so many interesting things. We're hoping to start up a property channel. You'll see us on a lot of different screens. We still have a good relationship with a property show on NTV. We want to expand beyond the central region. We also want to have long-term, meaningful relationships with organizations. Like if you look at something like KCCA, if you look at local government organizations, non-government organizations, to really just form partnerships that are going to be meaningful for the industry, to advocate for proper organizing of all the real estate stakeholders. People need to. We hope at some day you'll need to have a qualification to actually practice real estate in the country. In other countries, this is the norm. Maybe, hopefully, in Uganda, we'll get somewhere soon. So we're very interested in seeing real estate become better, and because we realize, from our position, we have to empower the agents. We have to empower the people that are selling, because when they make money, we make money. When they are successful, we are successful. So it's all about capacity building and enabling and education and just enlightenment and empowerment. And we hope that as we continue with this, LamuD will really be a force to reckon with in terms of real estate.
No, I hope so too as well, because just like Google, when you're looking for something, the first place to take
exactly.
The same should be for our
exactly. For LamuD, we should hope that, and if anything you need to hear about, because someone used to ask me, what does LamuD mean? What does LamuD mean? And it's like, it doesn't mean anything really, but it means exactly what you want. And we want LamuD to mean real estate to you. Whatever, anytime you hear LamuD, let me look for a property. So that's what we hope to achieve.
And if the tables were turned today, so if the microphones were switched, and this were your podcast, and I was your guest, what's the one question you'd ask me?
It's a very interesting question. Personally, I like to find out what drives people, and I like to connect to people on that level of incentive and behavior economics. So I guess the question I ask you is like, what drives you to keep on doing what you're doing, and what reasons would you have to? Because at this point in time, at least no one is paying you a check for Business Mind, and right now it's 8:30 p.m. on a Friday. Other people are out there trying to turn up, but you're here. So I guess the question will be like, what drives you and gives you that much passion to tell other people's stories? What is it about them?
I was asked this question in my very first interview, episode 1, and at the time I said, knowing that I will die sometime. The fact that you don't know when you're going to die, you have to push the boundary. And as I've done more and more interviews, I've realized that in life, there are so many dots that you can connect or that you need to connect to. And there are certain doors you need to open to connect those dots. This interview, or rather this podcast, once I started it, my goal was to basically share people's businesses with the world and encourage people in Uganda and Africa at large to get into entrepreneurship and podcasting. But along the way, I've met very interesting people, and not just in Africa, across the world. I've interviewed someone from Australia, the UK, Nigeria, the US, and I've built relationships that I would otherwise never have even dreamt of if I just sat at my office desk and worked from 8 to 9 and went to sleep. So this thing has shown me, and I would like to encourage anyone listening, that you need to push boundaries. You need to start opening doors. Don't do things necessarily for money. Do things because For the love. And also try and have an impact. Today we were just watching a video of a commencement speech by Admiral McRaven from Texas. And he talked about how impacting 10 people is something so valuable. If 1,000 people impacted 10 people, 800 million people would have been impacted over a period of over 100 years. So doing something, well, you can give to charity or whatever, but try and do something that you feel can, number one, build you, and number two, leave behind a legacy that lives beyond you. So initially I started this podcast because I knew podcasting is something I want to do. I need to start this thing before I die. And now I'm doing it because I can see the impact it's having. You called me and we're having this chat. I got to see how your team works. I've now taken something from the way you work, and I'm going to try and put that culture at my workplace. Basically, it's learning and connecting the dots.
I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the things, and I told you, I listened to your podcast the first time. I don't think it's been 2 weeks since I learned about it. And one thing that I thought I think it's important for someone to tell stories of, for lack of a better word, the stories of struggle. Struggle not in a negative sense, but the pains and the joys of work and what it means to synthesize something from nothing, and then you look back at an achievement and oh wow, this is what has happened. So I think by one thing, although sometimes is that I see from people that tell other people's stories, it's important. As you're telling other people's stories, you're weaving your own story, and you're making your own. So it's really, really important to have that reflection, and it's a very commendable thing that you're doing, and so I'm very, very proud to be associated with the Business Mike name. And
thank you.
I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
How can people get in touch with you? And before you tell us, I'll just like all the listeners know that you can find all this information, the number you mentioned, your social media contacts, your website, email addresses. You can find those at www.businessmike.com/LamuD. That's LAMUDI.
Yeah.
So businessmike.com/LamuD. You can get all these contact details. How can we get in touch with you?
You can call us. You can call us 0800 226 834. It's a very simple number for you to call and ask anything about LamuD. You can also reach us out on Facebook. We have a very big Facebook page, over 1 million fans that we're interacting with. So LamuD Uganda, www.facebook.co.ug/LamuD Uganda. We have a Twitter handle as well, which is LamuD Uganda. My personal Twitter handle is @Bikas, which is @BIKAHS, which is actually my name spelled the other way around. And I'm also on Facebook, although my Facebook is not very active, but in terms of my personal Facebook is not very active. But yeah, you can reach us out on all those avenues, and we'll be happy to discuss anything real estate related.
Thank you so much for your time, Shakib. I'm really honored to have you as a guest on this show, and we wish you the very best with LamuD. Hopefully, I'll be invited to that party.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully, your invite is in the mail. Your invite is in the mail. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much for your time.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you so much for listening to Business Mike today. And if you'd like to listen to more episodes just like this one, simply go to businessmike.com. I would love to hear from you and get to know what you think about the show. If you have any questions or suggestions, just drop me an email at daudi@businessmike.com. That's DAUDI@businessmike.com. Thanks again for listening, and until next Monday, take care.